guys? It's Kictor. I'm here with my beautiful girlfriend Stitch, who's going to tell us all about Guardian Volume 3, the final volume.
I can't believe it's finished in just 3 volumes.
Yeah, pretty big story considering it's about the creation of the whole world and everything we know.
Yup, and a love story that spans not only centuries, but thousands and thousands of years, presumably.
Damn. Well, last volume, we found out that Zhao Yunlan was the hash-slinging slasher after all.
Yeah, he sure is. Kunlun Jun, in other words, slinging the hash.
Yeah.
The hash being creation.
You get created and you get created.
Yeah, he just experienced a whole slew of memories while in the divine tree and got that whole creation story and his part in it and realized that he was this guy from back in the day who was part of all of it. And then he left the tree and had a talk with his dad about having a boyfriend. And his dad was like, okay, yeah, someday I'll meet him, and kind of brushed him off. And then he went home and slept.
Wow. So we went from literally being a universe creation story to casual modern homophobia.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And we pick right back up there, so.
Okay. Stop. My baby girl.
You know how Grimm... Okay, I'm bringing in your new special interest here.
So I heard you like banging the Grim Reaper.
Right?
On occasion.
Yes. And one of the things that you so like about Grimm... Wow, you really like him. is that he is baby girl.
Correct.
Has the power of life and death in his hands. Mm-hmm. Also, though, he's a good mix of surprisingly forward...
Yeah.
And down to clown.
Yeah.
In a sexy way, but also still being baby girl. And I feel like Shen is a good representation of this. But I would say he is almost the inverse of Grimm.
Like the top equivalent?
Yes. Yes, because Shen will absolutely ravish Zhao Yunlan in bed. Like, absolutely a top. There's no question about it. I don't know if this man knows that. Like, I don't think it's technically physically possible for him to bottom.
Oh my god.
I don't know. But he's also very bashful about it. He's like, oh my god, I don't know who that was. I'm so sorry.
Aw, that's really sweet.
He's very, very prim and proper by day. Very helpless baby girl by day. So it's a good balance. I personally am fond of that dichotomy. Mm-hmm. Where we open up in the story is Zhao Yunlan waking up sore and feverish from bottoming all night long.
Stop! Oh my god.
And Shen is just sitting there abashed. He's like, oh no, it's the consequences of my actions.
Oh my god.
And Zhao Yunlan is also such a shameless, assertive, charismatic person that I think he's still shocked that he still hasn't managed to top.
Right, right.
And so I think he tries consistently. I do think every encounter between them starts out with him trying, but it never works. Which I think is one of my favorite comedic bits. And so he's like, I'm gonna take my revenge. And so he like tackles Shen on the bed and tries to top him. And then his leg cramps up.
Oh my god.
And he's in so much pain. And Shen has to massage it. And thus goes another attempt.
Wow.
They continue to be very domestic and cute with each other. Zhao Yunlan especially refers to both himself and Shen as husbands.
Oh.
And sometimes wife.
Oh my god.
Whichever.
So he's like, we've been together for a millennia.
You just get wifey status automatically.
Makes sense.
It's cute. It's so cute. And some other good tidbits from this introductory scene is that Shen casually drops that he fell in love with him at first sight.
Oh wow.
Which
like back in the day.
Yeah.
Just picture like...
It's like he's just hatches out of an egg. He's like, that guy right there.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
When he was a little ghost.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so cute.
And new kink just dropped.
Oh.
No, it's good. Zhao Yunlan just has a thing for Shen hair. He just, like, he thinks it's so gorgeous and wants to see it. So he can kind of transform into, like, long hair, like, original form mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, like, by day, he's just the bespectacled, modern-looking guy. But he's like, please turn on the hair. Please, please, please.
Oh. That's really cute.
Yeah, I think that's sweet. Especially because it doesn't like super go into it, but I do feel like Shenwei is a little bit subconscious about like, I'm a monster. My true form is monstrous, and
my true form is hot Shansha guy.
Yeah, pretty much. But it very quickly delves into some more intriguing parts of the plot.
Okay.
Because Zhao Yunlan, like, I took everything he saw in the tree as the truth at face value. I worked very hard to understand what he was seeing.
Yeah.
But he is questioning whether what he saw in the past of his memories was him. If that was really true. Because he doesn't resonate with a lot of the anger and fury that the Kunlun Jun of the past did in those memories.
That guy was so mad all the time.
Yeah. Like, granted, I thought it was pretty reasonable for him to be mad, but at the same time, I also, looking back on it, had a hard time connecting their characters.
Is it because over millennias, Shenwei has been chipping away at his madness to make him kinder until they finally found a version of him that he could be topped?
That's so fun, just in it for the long con. I will make you into a bottom.
Yeah.
Chip, chip, chip.
It took 5,000 years, but here we are.
That's so funny. He even questions whether or not he was a good person for elevating Shenwei to godhood.
Yeah, I questioned that too. It was kind of fucked up.
Yeah, he's like, here's this burden of responsibility for you forever, and you will have no friends.
And he's like, thanks. It's like if your favorite K-pop idol asked you to do something.
Right.
No matter how taxing it was, you would see them as your god and do it.
I like how we have the actual literal example of a god.
And that you're telling me if Taemin told you to do something, you wouldn't do it.
I'd bark. Let's go. Yes. So we have some mysterious happenings happening. So in addition to him feeling a little bit uncertain about his reality, he is also physically ailing and he doesn't know why. He's just tired all the time. He feels drained. He just feels sick, and he kind of keeps explaining it away as one thing or another, but there's something wrong with him.
Okay.
And Shenwei is, of course, very concerned and attentive, but he does seem to know a little bit more than he's telling.
Oh, God.
He's not pregnant.
Got it.
And he keeps feeding Zhao Yunlan herbal medicine, even, like, and it's bitter and repulsive and whatnot. So, of course, classic case of, I have to feed it to you with my mouth.
Oh, my God.
Yada, yada. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Always have been. But then, one night, Zhao Yunlan wakes up, still feeling a little sicky. He notices that Shenwei is not next to him in bed, but there's a light on in the kitchen. So he goes out to see what he's up to and sees him making medicine on the stovetop for him in the middle of the night.
Aww.
With a knife plunged into his own chest.
What? Is the medicine, like, from his heart or something?
He has been refining medicine using the blood from the very tip of his heart, which is, like, for him, the only, like, pure part of his body, because it's like I guess the idea of, like, your heart circulating blood, like, that's, like, the cleanest it'll ever be, like, coming right out of your heart or something. And like, he is a filthy being, right? He's filled with darkness and evil energy.
My pure blood straight from the source.
So
I would do the same for you.
I would too. I wouldn't even stop with the tip of the heart. I'd dunk my whole heart in the soup.
Steep it.
Yeah, like in a tea bag. So of course there's this startling moment. The knife clatters to the floor dramatically. There's blood everywhere. The wound heals almost instantly, but Zhao Yunlan is traumatized for a lot longer than that.
Damn.
And he of course demands answers. It's like, what are you doing, my beloved?
Oh, you're awake!
Yeah. And Shenwei confesses that the reason why Zhao Yunlan is sick is because of him.
Oh no.
Yes. Because Zhao Yunlan is missing his left shoulder fire.
Yeah.
And he's missing his heart's blood, which is another like spiritual thing, because like that was used to create the soul lamp back in the day, which is missing. It's one of the 4 pillars holding the seal together that they gotta find.
Yeah.
since he's missing those two things, his soul is unstable and weak at all times. And as a Guay, Shen Wei is filthy and inauspicious. And so just by being in proximity to Zhao Yunlan, he is just inherently sapping away his life force.
Damn.
And Shen Wei is convinced that if Zhao Yunlan stays close to him, that he will eventually die because of him.
No! I gotta find that lamp.
The lamp's already, been turned into the lamp. I don't know if it's an option to...
Eat the lamp.
That's what Zhao Yunlan just said. Okay, babe, I gotta eat the lamp.
Yeah.
But they need the lamp to hold up the pillar, to hold up the seal.
I see how
load
this is
bearing.
a predicament.
It's a predicament. World ends, Zhao Yunlan dies. Yeah, it's a toss-up. Yeah. So that's a little traumatizing to hear from your beloved.
Yeah.
Hi, babe. Yeah, bad news. I'm slowly killing you. There's no way to fix this, as I am filthy and inauspicious.
So what are they gonna do?
Well, Zhao Yunlan is going to run away.
Oh, good.
He runs away to his workplace, his office, and sleeps there instead of facing him because he's just so mad and upset and is truly unable to bear honestly, it's not even what Shen Wei told him. He's like, he doesn't care about dying. What he does care about is the image of Shen Wei with a knife stabbed into his own heart.
Yeah, it's like you're putting yourself through this torture to keep me alive. It's just a painful thing overall to watch your beloved do.
Mm-hmm. He's just so upset that he would do that because it's also not the first time that Shen Wei has shown little regard for his physical body.
Yeah.
That he is just unable to handle that and leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some downsides to banging the Grim Reaper.
Oh, yeah.
But moving on.
Are you winning, son? You're not my real dad. Is that a bowl?
Yes, it is. How very astute of you. Now, you may be wondering what a bowl has to do with Zhao Yunlan's dad, who has been strangely homophobic. Well, to continue on with that plot line, Zhao Yunlan realizes that his dad is a little too homophobic, suspiciously. He compared to how he knows his dad's personality, it was out of place for him to try to avoid meeting Shen Wei, and he thought that was just weird. Mm-hmm. And he just realizes that there was something off about him entirely the last time they met.
What? Okay. Is his dad possessed or something?
Yeah, that's not his dad. His dad is possessed.
That's creepy.
And you may be wondering, what on earth could he possibly be possessed by? It's an immortal bull. Not just any bull, though. Very special bull. The bull is Shen Nong's medicine bull. Now, you may be wondering, who is Shen Nong? He was part of the whole creation story bit. However, he was conspicuously present but a non-player, and so I actually think that I may have completely written him out of my explanation, which,
fine.
In my defense, was kind of intentional because
who's gonna remember the bowl?
Right? Yeah, the bowl wasn't even present in the story. But okay.
No, it's like the candy salad videos where it's like everybody brings the candy salad. It's like, I brought the bowl.
Shenong brought the bowl. Yes, in the great scheme of creation, he brought the bowl, and no one remembers him. Right?
And it was the most important thing.
Truly important now. So there is a reason why Shenong is not really active in the memories that Zhao Yunlan has from being Kunlun Jun, which we'll get into later.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why this came as a little bit of a surprise. But we're going to learn how involved Shenong actually is in the plot.
Okay.
And the reasons why he's been conspicuously absent up to now.
Okay.
But the important thing to know is that his medicine bowl cultivated into a spirit that has been hanging around
and it's
ever
in his
since.
Dad.
And it's in his dad.
Okay.
Yes. And Zhao Yunlan suspects that this mysterious bowl crafted the memories he saw in the divine tree. That they weren't actually his real memories, but that they were altered or created by this bowl guy.
Okay.
Because he just doesn't relate to those memories at all. He just doesn't buy that they're his. And on another aside, he also suspects that the bull got Guo Changcheng transferred to his organization. And we'll go back to him a little bit later on because he is very present in this volume and he's doing a lot of things throughout the volume, but I just sort of condensed it into its own little arc.
Okay.
So he goes and confronts the bull and it's like, you're not my real dad. And he's like, you're right. I'm not your real dad. His dad is there as well. Like the bull can kind of just like turn off, like switch off, and then his dad is moving and acting and doesn't remember the bull being there.
Yeah.
So that's good at least. Like they're just coexisting in the same body. It's fine.
Okay.
It's not consensual, but it's fine. So his dad does meet Shen Wei. At least the bull meets Shen Wei, and the bull seems to know Shen Wei quite well, and it seems to really not like him. Maybe be afraid of him a little bit. So that's why the bull was avoiding Shen Wei. Not out of homophobia, but because he is a scary ancient being that he knows.
Got it.
As another scary ancient being. We will see more of the bull later on and also resolve the problem of him possessing Zhao Yunlan's dad.
Okay.
No worries. But I bet you weren't expecting that.
I sure wasn't. But at this point, I've come to learn to have an open mind.
Okay, next slide.
Time travel in my Danmei novel is more likely than you think.
So, at this point, I would say the plot is complex enough without time travel.
Yeah, once the bull got involved, I'd say so. You have to go back in time so that everyone can be like, thank you, Shen Nong, for bringing the bull. And then everything magically in the future is fine.
That's a good guess.
Thank you.
That's a good guess. It's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah, so Priest decided, you know what Volume 3 needs? The concept of time travel just sprinkled in on top of our reality. Yeah, so we get that.
Okay.
So, back, I don't even know if it was the previous volume or the first volume, but at some point, Zhao Yunlan found a mysterious book in the library at his workplace. Mm-hmm. And it was like uncatalogued, wasn't supposed to be there, but that book essentially led him to the mountain where there was that big fight with like the ghost face guy and everybody was there, and it kind of sparked all of the events to follow. So it was a load-bearing book, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so he is now trying to trace where that book came from to figure out how it appeared, maybe who's trying to guide him along this path. And so he traces the book all the way to a general store in the underworld.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's owned, of course, by a very creepy ghost girl. Like classic horror movie ghost girl.
But who else are you gonna go to if you need pads in the middle of the night?
Exactly. Someone's gotta in the underworld. It's gonna be her. You'll never guess who bought the book years and years ago.
Who?
Zhao Yunlan.
Oh.
She's like, yeah, you were here many years ago, looking exactly as you do now. You bought the book. Also, you will meet a bloody disaster in a few days. Have a nice day.
That was actually about the pads.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Hence the time travel thing going on. So he's like, okay, now I have to figure that out. And so he walks outside. And, he's with his coworker, Ju Hong, by the way, doing all this. She's the snake lady who's in love with him.
Right.
She knows it's one-sided, but she still hasn't given up. And honestly, she deserves better. Justice for Snake Lady. Yes. But outside, they are confronted by a horrific spirit. Like, I love the descriptions of all the ghosts and monsters in this book because they are absolutely frightening.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the snake lady and him could fall in love.
Yeah, maybe. But he attacks them. Because the thing about being in the underworld is you're not supposed to be a living person in the underworld.
Of course.
So they were like disguising themselves and hiding their scent and whatnot. And this spirit outs them immediately and brings a whole swarm of hungry ghosts down upon them. They are just ravenous for the living. It's like this concept of like even in death, people fear death and crave the living and crave life. And so it's just like this like uncontrollable hunger to consume what they don't have. Ooh. And it's so scary. And they start fighting their way out, and there's just too many of them, and Zhao Yunlan creates like this giant firestorm that like consumes the ghost, but then they start eating the fire.
Oh,
which is scary.
That's creepy.
And the whole time he is carrying Shenwei's coat because after he ran away to his office and fell asleep, Shenwei came after him and, while he was asleep, delivered a fresh set of clothes. And in Zhao Yunlan's rush to leave, he grabbed Shenwei's coat instead of his own.
Aww.
And Shenwei did not bring him a new coat. He let him keep wearing his coat.
That's cute.
And so ever since then, Zhao Yunlan has been wearing Shenwei's coat, and he has since recognized, oh, wrong coat. But even in the underworld, even in this crazy fight for his life, he is protecting his coat.
Aww.
Which is just this really sweet little gesture of just how much he's thinking about and how much he cares for him, and anything that reminds him of him, he wants to safeguard and cherish. So, of course, it doesn't take long for Shenwei to appear as the sole executing emissary to save them. And that is when Zhu Hong learns his true identity. Because this whole time, she's just been aware that Zhao Yunlan and Shenwei have been dating, but not that Shenwei is the sole executing emissary. She's like, you are dating the devil? What?
Nice. She's like, now I know I don't have a chance.
It's more like, what does he have that I don't? He's so scary.
That's funny.
It was so funny. And so right in front of her salad, they're hugging, and Zhao Yunlan is like, okay, come home with me. Let's talk through this. And Shenwei is so sad and refuses to go with him because he really truly believes he can only harm him by being close to him. He's ready to kind of keep his distance to protect him.
Right.
And so Zhu Hong gets her very cathartic scene where she lets out all of her fury and disappointment on Zhao Yunlan, being like, why can't you just like me back? Why does it have to be him? Clearly this isn't good for you. Clearly he has strung you along only to leave you, yada yada, raising some very valid points in her perspective. And Zhao Yunlan tries to comfort her the best way he can, being like, look, I'm not that much of a catch. I don't even do my own laundry. I wear my dirty socks multiple days in a row. We're meant for each other.
That's funny.
Sorry for being gay, but I'm hella mega gay for Shenwei. And so she's like, okay. Collects herself after that. Shenwei has since disappeared. And so Zhao Yunlan dives into the River of the Dead, always a great idea for a mortal, to find the Great Seal and presumably Shenwei as well. And the only reason he was able to survive doing this is because he has a water dragon pearl that was given to him as thanks by Zhu Hong, because her uncle passed it on to her to give to him, because Zhu Hong is supposed to be retiring and returning to her tribe, leaving the agency. So that was kind of her family's thank you gift for looking after her.
Okay.
Yes, so he's able to breathe underwater, thankfully. But there is a note in the text at this point that this gift seems very intentional. So there might be more to it than just any old thank you gift.
Okay.
Yes. And so Zhao Yunlan dives all the way down through the water, all the way to the ancient merit tree and the Great Seal in the place of great disrespect. And this is where he gets another flashback of memory. This time it seems to be more true, but it still might be cherry-picked from a lot of other memories.
Okay.
So
I got you these teeth. I love you. What?
You know. So, the memory he gets is Kunlun Jun at some point, died, but was still a god, so his primordial spirit was left over to guard the Great Seal forever. And so he's down there with the seal, just watching over it, basically in this great big void where there's only Guay.
Okay.
And so with him, there is the little king of the Guay, none other than Shenwei himself, and he is just, he's much younger than he is now and very simple-minded and just is shadowing him around, not knowing how to express his feelings or what to do with them. He just really loves Kunlun Jun.
Oh.
And so Kunlun Jun is just kind of bored, isn't really thinking much of it, and he decides, okay, since I'm so bored, I have nothing better to do. I will teach you about morality and justice just to see how you turn out later.
Wow.
And so that helps a little bit. Give him some bigger concepts to work with. And he outright tells Kunlun Jun, I like you.
Aww.
And then Kunlun Jun kind of just laughs at him a little bit. He's like, okay. And little Shenwei, quickly realizes, maybe openly expressing my feelings isn't always the best way to go. Need to learn to use other ways to express myself, since this is just very simple and childish of me. And so as he's learning from Kunlun-jun, he is also searching for ways to express his feelings for him. Except he is in a void where there is only darkness and Guay, and so there's really nothing for him to do. So as a gift, he collects the teeth from a bunch of Guay he kills and eats and whatnot, and uses his own hair to make a hideous necklace of sorts out of it, and then gives it to him. He's like, for you.
It's really sweet.
It is really sweet, and Kunlun-jun very politely accepts it, and then the little king of the Guay is like, he didn't seem super pleased about that, and also I have not ever seen him wear it, so I'm guessing that was a bad idea.
He never wears it. That's so funny. Aww.
I feel like that's just such a thing that could happen to, like, a kid even nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like you give your mom some macaroni art and it stays on the fridge for a day, but then mysteriously disappears. And there went your masterpiece. So next, he's like, okay, new plan. I bet he would really like flowers. Flowers are pretty. I could make him a necklace of flowers. And so he tells him that he wants to go collect flowers for him. And Kunlun-jun's like, yeah, but no Guay are allowed to leave, so are you trying to escape? You trying to run away? Just kind of teases him and gives him yes, he gives him a hard time, and he's immediately like, that is not what I meant. I'm so sorry.
Aww.
And so it's just such a cute thought, and Kunlun-jun gets some joy out of teasing him, and he gives the flustered Shenwei a kiss on the forehead.
Oh my god.
And what makes this even better is that he is so flustered and shocked, and this like bends his entire worldview, because he's like, what is this that I have been bestowed? He did not know that kisses were an option, that they were a thing. He's just like, ugh, what is this? This is the best thing ever.
That's so cute.
It's so cute. And he is so flustered and just mind blown over this that he runs into the Great Seal and disappears for 50 years. Gay panic at its finest.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god.
However, he is not a useless gay, because he spent those 50 years inside the Great Seal collecting something to give to him. As we see is his way of expressing himself now.
His love language is definitely gifts.
Yes. And so 50 years later, he comes out of the Great Seal, looking a little bit older, a little more mature, and he immediately gives Kunlun-jun his missing soul fire.
Oh.
Apparently, the pieces of it were scattered inside the Great Seal. Now, the question as to how and why it was there, we will get to, but at any rate, his missing soul fire he gives to Kunlun-jun, and obviously, that's a pretty nice gift. Yeah. And so Kunlun-jun's like, okay, what do you want in return? And he's just like, he just points to his forehead and asks for him to do that again.
Oh my god. That is so sweet.
And would you like to guess what Kunlun-jun does instead?
To kiss him on the lips.
He gives him a very chaste kiss on the lips. Can you imagine how mind-blowing that would be?
Runs back into the seal.
It's so good. And there's this like really beautiful quote to go with it too.
And just imagine like someone has to draw him with the big eyes like
I want like the good job meme.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you good job. You gave me a necklace made of teeth. So Kunlun-jun says, I hold all the world's famous mountains and rivers in my hand, but what of it? They're nothing but a bunch of rocks and wild waters. Of all that I am, the only part worth anything may be my heart. If you want it, it's yours. Formative, right?
That's a lot.
Right? With that, everything fell into place for the young king of the Guay. For the first time, he knew that there was a way to refer to the thing he yearned for so deeply but had been unable to voice. Its name was heart, a single word with the power to doom someone forever.
Oh, damn.
And so he ends up giving that soul fire to Shenwei.
Yeah.
and also gives him his tendon and uses that to give him some sort of godhood. He's not a true god, but he is immortal. So with that, he passes on like all of his power as a mountain god.
I can just imagine though. It's like Kunlun Jun is like, ha ha ha, oh, this cute little ghost likes me. How cute. He's like comes back with the fucking missing soul fire, like, Jesus Christ! Like,
Where'd you get that?
oh my god, okay, you're promoted.
Basically, it's so funny.
It's like, I could do anything for you. I was like, do you know how crazy this is? He's just like,
Like, holy shit, okay.
it's like, I would have done that for a lot less.
It's like, oh my god, do you want my fucking soul and my heart and a kiss on the mouth and godhood, I guess? No one's ever been nice to me before.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, and you may be wondering about like the timing of all this. Like, oh, it seems like a lot to give in return as well. Well, it's because he's fucking dying. Kunlun Jun is just a fragment remaining of his primordial spirit, and he's about to die. So he's like, have fun living forever. Peace out.
Aww.
And it's so sad. Like, Shen Wei is crying. He's sobbing. He's still so innocent in many ways, despite being this creature of darkness and
That
whatnot.
hurts. I don't like that.
I don't like that either, but that's the memory we get.
Oh. He needs to go give him a hug right now.
He's trying. He's looking for him. Oh, and also, if I recall correctly, that quote about like the only thing of value I have is my heart, so here it's yours. That is something that Zhao Yunlan says to Shen Wei when they like confess. When he confesses his feelings for him, I think he says something almost exactly alike.
That's awesome.
Which must have shook Shen Wei to the core.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that happened.
Good questions to have. What was Kunlun's soul fire doing in the place of great disrespect? How did he as a god enter the human reincarnation cycle? What's the deal with his missing tampered memories? What role did the primordial god Shen Nong play in all this? What is Shen Wei not telling him?
Many, many questions are floating about in our minds as readers. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come together now a little bit. I will try my best.
Okay.
Yes. So, Zhao Yunlan has arrived at the ancient merit tree and the seal, and instead of finding Shen Wei, he finds Ghostface. He's literally called Ghostface in the book. I don't know if he has a name, but everyone has decided for Ghostface because he wears a mask.
Okay.
Yes. And he shows up doing the whole villain monologuing thing, and he lets slip that Shen Nong borrowed Kunlun Jun's soul flame.
Okay.
So that is how it went missing, and presumably how it ended up in the place of great disrespect. So, okay, that will play into things. Then Shen Wei appears to fight Ghostface, and while that is happening, Zhao Yunlan is suddenly transported to the distant, far-off year of 2002. Yeah, so the time travel thing, like, is happening. We're doing that. We're gonna complete that little subplot going on here, okay? In this distant year of 2002, he sees his dad, the bull, talking to Shen Wei.
I'm just picturing, like, a stickman bull, like you drew, and it's like he's the bull, but then it's like when he becomes the dad, it's like he puts on a mustache. It's like, hello, son.
Stop, that's so funny.
Oh, Dad, sorry.
Oh,
what are you doing here?
Wow, I thought I saw a bull here just now. I don't know where that went.
Don't be ridiculous, son.
Mustache is a little crooked. Fixes it. You're not my dad. Rips off mustache. Why is that so funny?
I don't know.
Shut up, you're so dumb. He sees the bull as his dad confronting Shen Wei about coming into contact with Zhao Yunlan when he's not supposed to. Shen Wei is denying this. He's saying, I saw him, but we didn't meet. Like, I ignored him. Everything's fine. There's mentions of a promise that Shen Wei made to Shen Nong. And, like, that promise he made in exchange for putting Kunlun into the reincarnation cycle.
Okay.
So, Shen Nong, apparently in charge of the reincarnation cycle business, Shen Wei made some sort of contract to put him in there so that he wouldn't die.
Yeah. But it seems like
But
you
wasn't-
can't have any contact
Yes.
with him.
Right.
Oh. So he's just
Yes.
been spying on him from afar.
Yes. And we know that, like, his job as sole executing emissary basically has his fate tied to that of the seal. And so also in the scene, it's implied that if the Great Seal ever broke, he'd no longer be bound by that contract.
Oh, okay.
However, if the Great Seal broke, the whole world would pretty much end.
Yeah.
And the reincarnation cycle, it would be awful. So there's a lot at stake with him not breaking the contract.
Yeah.
Hence the bull scolding him and making sure to keep him in line.
Yeah.
Now, Zhao Yunlan is seeing this, and his first reaction is to get the big ick, because he's like it's very weird to see your dad meeting with your boyfriend like years before you met. Like, it's just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But then he's like, also, this is weird on a whole other level. What is going on?
Yeah.
But I like that was his first response, being like, ew.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot was revealed at once, and I started to piece it together. I don't know if it's making more sense to you, what's maybe going on. Okay, cool. After that, Zhao Yunlan goes and buys the book at the underworld store to prevent a time paradox, and dusts his hands, finishes that business, and he is immediately beamed into this white zone where there's just like this white void, and there's this old man talking to him, trying to tell him something. That old man is Shen.
Okay.
Shen is dead, even as a god, mega dead. So this is just some sort of remnant of his spirit.
Okay.
It will actually be explained how this is possible, even though I frankly don't care. But Shen is trying to tell him something very important, and then he is graphically split in two by Shen cutting him down.
Oh.
With the soul executing blade.
Cool.
So he's trying to prevent Zhao Yunlan from putting too many things together, it seems.
Okay.
And he doesn't like Shen. And then he takes Zhao Yunlan back through the River of the Dead via kisses. He yanks off the pearl that was on him and makes some sort of comment. Like, he seems very jealous. So it's like, oh, you think it's just because, like, Zhu Hong gave it to him. But he's like, you don't even know what this is and you're wearing it. So there's something else going on. And it's not actually a pearl. It's a piece of Nua's scale.
Oh.
Like, I think she also was a snake lady.
Okay.
Yes. But so that's a scale from her way back there. Very priceless treasure. But what does it actually do? We'll get into that at some point. So instead of having that on the way up, he has to kiss Zhao Yunlan so he can breathe.
Cute.
Yes. Now, to Zhao Yunlan's credit, he took care of Shen Wei's coat all the way to the end, and Shen Wei's coat survives the whole underworld ordeal perfectly intact.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So they're out of the underworld, they're back at home together, and what I thought was really nice is that as they're talking, they have a really silly moment together. Like, a whole bunch of crazy stuff happened, a whole bunch of revelations were revealed, and they still managed to have a silly domestic moment where Zhao Yunlan is rolling around on the bed in Shen Wei's coat and refusing to give it back because it smells like him, and Shen Wei is like tries to grab it and pull it from him and just like rolls Zhao Yunlan off the bed, like thunk, and then they both just start laughing.
Aww, that's cute.
So cute. It was so cute, and I truly think that they make such a good couple. Like, there's the whole grand scale of their romance, but truly on an everyday basis, they do enjoy each other's company so much, and we do get to see those moments, even with all of this plot stuff happening, and even though it's only 3 volumes, we still manage to get those little moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww.
But then Zhao Yunlan does hit him with his serious questions. He's like, okay, you do have to tell me what's going on now.
Yeah.
Because I saw you with the bowl.
Yeah.
And I really loved this scene in particular because we get to see Shen Wei's reaction to Zhao Yunlan like finding out something about him that he wasn't supposed to find out.
Right.
And just the way he experiences this intense fear right off the bat is so juicy to me because I think that's like a flip side of a deep romantic love.
Yeah.
It's like this person has the power to destroy me on so many levels. I'm so afraid of this person finding out my flaws or the mistakes I've made, because if they choose to not love me anymore, I am doomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's like his worst fear, and like feeling that so viscerally and palpably in the story is so like one of my favorite things ever. And so I do want to read a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Utter terror boiled up in Shunwei's heart. From the moment of his birth, he had looked at the world with disdain, with no comprehension of fear, but at this moment he was racked with it. He knows, Shunwei thought. Despite all my machinations, he found out. At the pinnacle of his fear, there was an instant in which the king of the Guay was gripped with the temptation to follow his natural instincts and slaughter the person before him. He could solve this problem the way the rest of his kind would, simply and violently. Then, once Shunwei had consumed every last morsel, they would be one in flesh and blood. Nothing would remain in all the world that could threaten him so. No longer could anything make him tremble at the possibility of losing the one he loved. But of course, he's no longer that person. Like, of course, like that's not a serious thought. But the fact that he did have that thought, that like immediate impulse, I felt like that was so... It felt so real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt so true to his character. It wasn't a pretty emotion. It was a very ugly, raw emotion. But
Yeah.
I understood. It made perfect sense from where he was coming from.
Yeah.
And I felt that that really captured his feeling of fear. That he would have that just, like, violent urge to just fix it.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So
that is really good.
It was so good. That was such a good scene. But you may be wondering, what is Shunwei so afraid of? What is he so afraid that Zhao Yunlan has found out? What does he think that Zhao Yunlan could possibly not forgive him for? Well, Shunwei had every reason to feel a little bit scared, because this is the truth. Shunwei is the one who planted the fake memories in the divine tree.
Okay.
As well as planted the memory flashback that he had of being at the Great Seal with him. That one was true, but it was cherry-picked from some other memories for a certain reason.
Okay.
So he has been crafting Zhao Yunlan's sense of self with his past.
Okay.
And is covering up a truth. So he has every reason to be afraid that Zhao Yunlan is going to learn this and be like, you're crazy and I can't trust you, and we are no longer boyfriends.
Okay.
Right?
Like, what could be more cringe than giving him the hair and tooth necklace?
He's like, you chose all the memories that he could have seen and you went with the hair necklace? You're right. What could be worse than that? It's a very good point. Also, we get an explanation of what was going on with a bunch of other plot stuff, and it's explained very clearly in the book. Like, Zhao Yunlan breaks it down for the reader what's actually going on. But basically, Shenong was a primordial god who did lose his godhood early on in the creation story and died a mortal death. But he knew the past and future as a god and was able to leave behind his shadow, which was the white void spirit that Zhao Yunlan encountered, and create a perfect cycle using the book that Zhao Yunlan found and purchased and then found again, and Nua's scale. So the pearl that Zhao Yunlan had, once he received it, it started this perfect time loop. This is like crafted by Shenong. It's like, this will give you access to like the residuals from my spirit for you to encounter. This will like lead you through the whole book time loop, and it's through this pearl. So that was kind of like the instigator. Now this like perfect cycle concept is interesting because Shenong is, we know, connected to the reincarnation cycle. So cycles of time do seem to be his thing. So it kind of makes sense that way. But something we're going to learn in one of the extras is that this technically isn't time travel. It's not a time loop. It's a pocket universe.
Okay.
So we will get into all of that down the line. It's this it really isn't more relevant. This is the limit of how it's involved in the main plot line, but we'll get into pocket universes later.
Okay.
Yes. The feelings that Zhao Yunlan experienced in his crafted memories were Shen Wei's feelings. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. Is like they weren't just like completely fabricated. It's like we got to see Shen Wei's emotional experience of some of the things that happened. Not everything that he showed was true. Mm-hmm. There were some things that were like completely false. Like Zhao Yunlan, like the first thing he thought of was like, I supposedly blinded this divine dragon and it crashed into a mountain. I don't think I would do that. I'm kind of an animal rights guy. That was kind of my whole thing as the mountain god.
Yeah.
So that seems weird that I would do that. He didn't do that.
Okay.
The dragon did crash into the mountain, but it certainly wasn't because he was angry at everything.
Okay.
So that was just Shen Wei's personal feelings of anger
manifesting
crafting this narrative.
Cool.
So that was a lot. Hopefully we've answered some of the questions we have at this point, but more will be revealed. And moreover, the true creation story is about to be revealed, which will put a lot of things into a clearer light.
Okay.
Here's the truth. Here's what actually happened after all the work I did for last volume.
Okay.
Nuwu created humans. Okay, it's actually good that we learned about this last volume because a lot of it still rings true. Okay, so Nuwu created humans, but she hadn't died yet, okay? This was still while she was alive. When Nuwu died, she essentially created the underworld.
Okay.
So right now there is no underworld because she is alive. So what happens when humans die? Well, their souls are trapped on Earth and they are tortured under the hot sun. And if they can't bear the torture of being under the hot sun anymore, they are melted and returned to chaos. And chaos is kind of the nothingness from which everything was created.
Okay.
And this is also what the Guay are made of. The Guay are incarnations of pure chaos. And the chaos is kind of being all sealed beneath the, well, it's not sealed yet, but it's, that's what's currently under the Great Seal.
Yeah.
So then Shenong lost his godhood, but he still was trying really hard to save these human souls by borrowing the soul file from Kunlun. Not sure what he was going to do with it, but it was prematurely knocked from his hand by the divine dragon that was crashing into Buzhou Mountain during the War of the Gods and Demons.
Okay.
Now, Shen Wei suspects that he intentionally dropped it, but for all intents and purposes, it could have been an accident. The soul fire fell into the place of great disrespect, as we saw in the memory, right?
Yep.
But where it landed was born the kings of the Guay, and where all of its pieces scattered in the chaos were born the Guay.
So he's been hiding from him this whole time. He was his son.
Oh no! That is not the takeaway. So essentially, Kunlun's soul fire accidentally created the Guay. That's how they were created.
Yeah.
That's how the kings were created. I wouldn't necessarily say that they're related, but it was. I thought that was neat how technically it's like a god in his creation. Yes, so that's how the Guay were invented.
Okay.
So the first thing that Shen Wei experienced after being born was that he heard Kunlun and Shenong like looking over the Guay and talking about what they were. And so the first thing he learned about himself is that he was a creature of chaos and darkness and evil. Really good for one's self-esteem. And that's what sparked him to like self-deprecate to such a point where he looked down on other Guay, but he also didn't want to be like other Guay. So he consumed and ate other Guay, but he never hurt any living person or creature other than that. He really wanted to be more than what he was. He was kind of born with this primordial shame.
Yeah.
So that explains why he was different from other Guay. It's because he really heard that and took it to heart and fell in love at first sight, as it were. At that point, Nuwu dies and she becomes the Great Seal with her death. And Shenong dies and he becomes the reincarnation cycle. And with that, we have the 3 pillars so far. Like, there was the mountain, river, all, the reincarnation Tao, and the merit brush. There wasn't yet the soul lamp, however. And this creates this circle of like life and death that's going to save all of these souls that would just like melt back into chaos otherwise. Then Kunlun gives up his divine form so that his spirit can guard the Great Seal. However, Shen wanted to fix his mistake of creating the soulless beings, the Guay, who existed outside of this perfect reincarnation cycle that he invented. So he wanted to exterminate all of them. To protect Shen, Kunlun gave him his tendon and his soul fire to elevate him to godhood, to protect him from this extinction that was going to come for the Guay. So that was really sweet. And at that point, Shen has died, but his spirit is still kind of around, as gods are wont to do. So Shen begs Shen to put Kunlun into the reincarnation cycle as a mortal. But to do this would cost Shen the remainder of his own life. Like, he's like, I can do that, but to make a god into a mortal, to turn his spirit into a mortal spirit, it's gonna use up my spirit as well. So Shen is like, okay, deal, but you have to promise to protect the seal forever. And if the seal breaks, you're going to die with it.
Okay.
And you can also never see Kunlun again, because if you do, it'll drain his life spirit and shatter his soul.
Oh.
For like ever. Like, it's like, yeah, it's not good. To be fair, I personally wasn't sure if that was part of the contract or part of how Shen is inherently as a Guay. If I were to guess, I would say it's just inherently who he is as a Guay, that by virtue of being a Guay and by virtue of Kunlun having this wonky soul that's missing pieces,
right.
it's just too fucky to mess with him.
Okay.
Right. I don't think it was like an arbitrary part of the contract or something.
It wasn't Shen Gong being mean intentionally?
I don't think so.
But why does Shen Gong care about Kunlun being alive or not?
He doesn't, but he does care about the Great Seal being intact. And so Shen has been protecting the seal this entire time. That's been his full-time job.
Right.
So in his mind, he was willing to give up his own life in order to ensure that his reincarnation cycle would last as long as possible.
Yeah.
Because if that seal breaks, everything's going to be destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, in short, like the secret that Zhao Yunlan didn't know about, like, is this contract between Shen and Shen with the reincarnation cycle and the Great Seal. And the big kicker, though, is that if the seal breaks, Shen will die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your Honor, in my client's defense.
Just look at him. God, just look at him. Shen is afraid that Zhao Yunlan will not forgive him, not only for all of the things previously mentioned, but because of the deepest truth, deep down, that Shen Chao's... Sorry, not Shen Chao. Who the fuck's Shen Chao? Is that a different book?
Thousand Autumns.
Damn it! Shen actions that have been misleading Zhao Yunlan have been for all one single purpose. Down to not only his memories, but even the moment when Zhao Yunlan saw him stabbing himself in the kitchen. That was intentional. He let him see that.
Manipulative little bitch.
He's been a manipulative little bitch for one single reason, and it's not a noble reason. The truth is that he was motivated out of greed to make Zhao Yunlan feel guilt and debt towards him, so that Zhao Yunlan would never want to leave him, and so that Zhao Yunlan would agree to die together with him.
Oh my god. Wow, okay.
Yeah, because Zhao Yunlan will die, and if the seal breaks, Shen will die. And so if it comes down to Shen knowing that he's going to have to repair the seal with his life, like, any day now, but he doesn't want to be separated from him. He doesn't want to part from him. Like, their romance is completely doomed. And so, like, in his mind, like, he can either be completely self-sacrificing or he can be greedy and just want to be together even in death, true death, returning to chaos together.
Wow. That's, like, a little too romantic.
I know. Look, okay. I don't know.
It's a little too edgelordy.
He's a little bit of an edgelord, but you know what?
What happened to the guy that was giving him teeth? Bring me back that Shen Wei.
I like it though. I'm like, ooh, this is great. It's like, I mean, look, selfless folly and love is great too, but the cold reality of he, like we've been told from the beginning, he's a creature of darkness. He is ultimate primordial chaos. It's like this makes sense.
That's fair. You're right.
He has the two wolves inside of him, and this is clearly the wolf that won.
Got it.
And I don't think I have a problem with that. I think it's kind of hot.
Well, okay, because evidently this is going to end up being a happy ending, and knowing that he has that level of love for him,
it's like, you're not allowed to die unless we die together.
is
like,
hot,
great.
and I love that. But just this scenario is too sad.
It is too sad. And I can say this because I know there's going to be a happy ending. But,
yeah.
So he confesses that. He's like, yep, I have been manipulating you this entire time for this reason. And you're like, choose now. Like, you don't get time to think. Choose now. Choose to die or choose to live. Like, those are your two options.
Wow.
Like, you can either die with me, return to chaos together. That's it. No future lives together. Nothing. Or I can strip you of memories of us together, and we can have no connection with each other anymore. Like, you'll live, but that's like, you will not remember me. Those are your two options. Choose now.
Oh my God.
It's not even like, I'll give you some time to think about it. He's like, I need to know now.
Okay.
It's a bit intense,
Yeah.
but I can respect that. Zhao Yunlan takes this all super chill.
He's like, let's go to chaos, baby.
Pretty much. Like,
Wow.
what comes out of his mouth next is just like, I wonder how long the seal will last. I should probably say goodbye to my parents first. Like, that's it. Like, it's no question. He doesn't even give him a direct answer. It's just so obvious to him what he chooses.
Yeah.
And they immediately go bang about it. So, good for them.
Yeah, okay.
Overcome with passion. So, that was resolved rather quickly.
Let's lose our minds together.
Yeah! So, I thought this was good because this is an insane situation. And I don't think anyone should be that super chill about a suicide pact, essentially, even though the extenuating circumstances are valid. It's not a normal situation to be in, for sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like an easy choice to make and things are like seemingly resolved for the present moment, I think kind of leads to the question of like, what's actually going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, what's really going to happen? It's not going to be this easy, right?
Yeah.
Daching, the fat cat, is worrying about Zhao Yunlan after the whole underworld situation and goes to check on him. Rings the doorbell. We get the information that Zhao Yunlan is such an obnoxious person that in order to hear the doorbell and not ignore it, he customized his doorbell to play this song. And I've included the link to the song.
This is the only thing that will get his attention?
Yep, not just like a 30-second clip of the song. It's the entire song in its entirety. Like, Priest makes this very clear that Daching the cat is sitting there listening to the song being like, why is he the way that he is?
Oh my god.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So he goes to check on him. Shen Wei opens the door wearing Zhao Yunlan's clothes. Daching is scarred for life upon seeing that. And Shen Wei casually sends him grocery shopping to get breakfast for Zhao Yunlan. You may be wondering how a cat can go grocery shopping.
He has a persona.
No.
Oh.
He's a cat still.
Cool.
And so he like goes down to the local shop and the people at the shop are like, this cat has a note with a grocery
Aw.
list and some money in his collar.
That's cute.
It's so cute.
That's really cute.
Yes. Meanwhile, Zhao Yunlan whips out his to-do list. We
I
get
thought you were gonna say something else.
I see you. Whips out his to-do list, which is almost as long as his...
Okay.
Okay. And we get a beautiful description of his to-do list. The handwriting resembled that of a surgeon who was jumping up and down while riding on a rocket, but with great difficulty, Shen Wei was able to read the only two items written under urgent. The first item was his own name. He wrote Shen Wei down on his to-do list under urgent.
That is so funny.
And right before his eyes, Zhao Yunlan puts a check mark next to it.
That's amazing. Just
There's also a bunch of work-related stuff on his to-do list, but that just killed me.
That's so funny.
We also get the information that Shen Wei can do magic, but he cannot use a smartphone.
Okay.
So, like, when he receives a photo, it, like, he can't figure out how to, like, zoom in on the photo. So he, like, turns it into, like, a magical 3D hologram, which he's able to zoom in. So it's like he's able to do ridiculous high-speed, high-technological magic, but he cannot actually use a smartphone.
That's funny.
And he also cannot use a scanner. Zhao Yunlan's like, oh, you want to help me do some work? You want to be like a little secretary? Like, he's like, scan these for me and send them to like my coworker. And he's like, no, I can't.
Oh my god.
He has to show him how to use the printer, but he does it like the let me show you how to swing a golf club style. So he's like behind him showing him how to. I'm like, why can't this happen to me? I also don't know how to use the printer.
I'll show you how to use the printer later.
So we get all that, but we are unfortunately launching into another plot arc because Lin Jing, I always want to say Jinling, but Lin Jing, one of the workers under Zhao Yunlan, has gone missing on like a routine sort of case, and the department receives this video from him, and he's in this creepy deserted resort, and he's losing his senses, like he loses his ability to hear and then loses his ability to see, and like and then he like quickly sends the video before like, and he's like barely able to talk, but he's like basically like, guys, come fucking save me.
Yeah, okay.
Like, this is crazy. And so they're like, okay, well, we have to go save him now. There's a lot going on here.
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled. Okay, there is a cat boy.
Yes.
That's Tamaki in the corner.
Yep.
That's from Over the Garden Wall.
Yep. And that's Dante's Inferno with all the circles of hell.
Yes.
So we just jumble that up in a nice milkshake, and we're going to get the next little arc of the plot here.
Mix it up in a bowl, if you will.
Truly, we could mix it up in a bowl. And I know who's bringing the bowl. There are earthquakes from the netherworld shaking the planet, so that's good.
Okay.
Yes. And essentially, Guay are like leaking out from the seal in this one spot. That spot being a resort that is deserted. It did not used to be deserted. A few days ago, it was a perfectly normal resort. But then when they show up to investigate the resort and try to find Lin Jing, they find it creepily empty and covered in dust, despite it only being a few days.
Okay.
And they're like, how long has this dust been here? And Shen Wei like kind of like picks it up. It's like, oh, it's been a few days. Like, you can just tell that. It's like, not with normal dust, but this is human ash.
Oh.
Yes, so everyone at the resort has been incinerated.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that was terrifying. And lo and behold, guess who shows up? It's Ghostface. And he draws a wisp of chaos from his body and uses it to attack Shen Wei, and it grabs him by the arm, and it's freaking pure chaos. It's like impossible to get off. So he's like, chop off my arm. And Zhao Yunlan is like, no, I will not do that. And so instead he like sets fire to the Soul Guarding Order, which is this wooden plaque that he carries. I actually don't know. I'm on the last volume here. I don't actually know what the Soul Guarding Order, what purpose, what function it serves. I can't remember. But physically, it is a wooden plaque with the like motto of the Soul Guarding Order on it.
Okay.
Which I will get into later. But it's a very powerful object, so he's able to like set fire to it and burns half of it in order to like get this chaos to get off of Shen Wei without cutting off his arm.
Right.
And then Ghostface stabs Shen Wei with the giant icicle made of the frozen water from the River of the Dead.
Okay.
Yes. Which is, it's like,
I was just
regular ice wouldn't work. But so there he is. He's been impaled. And like the whole scene is in chaos. Zhao Yunlan like whips Ghostface with a special soul whip thing, but it breaks and cuts his hand to the bone, and Shen Wei is kidnapped and taken to the ancient merit tree down by the Great Seal, and oh, Lin Jing is there.
Okay.
He's busy fighting Yochu and is not having a good time, but he's being comedic relief, so it's kind of funny. Yeah, so of course Zhao Yunlan is immediately goes into like ultra serious, I will fuck up everyone here to get to my boyfriend mode, which is hot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Da Qing transforms into a human, shocking everyone who did not know he can do that.
Yeah.
Like, and moreover, even though he is a fat lazy cat by day, his human Sona is like literally like just a twinky wuxia boy, like long flowing hair,
What?
old robes, slender and beautiful, and he's like, ugh, I hate being hairless. It's so ugly.
Oh my
and just
God.
jumps out the window, forgets to know how to use a door. Like, he literally doesn't transform into human because he thinks being hairless is ugly. Fair enough.
That's so funny.
But I just love how everyone is just shocked by his twink Sona. He's like, how are you skinny? This
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
That's funny.
Give us fat Da Qing. So he's off to do something. I forget what he does, but that moment was just shocking by itself.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is in chaos, because the seal is leaking, the magistrate from hell shows up to the scene, and Zhao Yunlan grabs him and is like, take me to the fucking seal, because that's where Shen Wei is probably, and I need to see him. And instead, the magistrate takes him to see the 10 kings of the underworld instead. They have ordered to see him. And this is a really neat scene because Zhao Yunlan is like walking through the court to go up to like these 10 thrones, and underneath like the floor is made transparent, and it shows all of these layers of hell, and each one has a very particular form of terrible torture going on. So like there's somebody getting his tongue ripped out, there's somebody being like boiled in hot oil, and it's all feels very too close for comfort.
Right.
It's clearly an act of intimidation. I thought it was really interesting though, because it's again like these kind of circles of hell that we have as a Western concept from Dante's Inferno, but they're also here in Chinese hell. So, and they're no better. They're awful.
Okay.
So he walks into this throne, and he's like so sexy right now. He doesn't care that he's mortal. He is talking to these immortal kings in charge of the underworld so arrogantly, not giving a single shit, just absolutely just focusing on one thing, and that is getting his boyfriend back as soon as possible. And they are trying to bluff and intimidate him, which is not working. But essentially, they reveal their purpose in wanting to see him by revealing the soul guarding lantern, which they have been safeguarding in the netherworld for a very long time. Now, the soul guarding lamp has been missing, for all intents and purposes, to the characters looking for it up till now. And this is the last pillar needed for the Great Seal. This is the one that they really need to keep out of the hands of the Ghostface, because right now, like, he has a couple, like, you know, they have a couple. This is like the deciding factor. So here it is. The final pillar is revealed. There's the soul guarding lamp. And why are they showing it to Zhao Yunlan? Is it to help him? No, it's because they want to sacrifice his life, put his soul in the soul guarding lamp to light it for a very, very long time. Yes,
Okay.
because Kunlun Jun, like, some part of him formed the lamp, and the wick was lit with his heart's blood.
Okay.
So, a little bit of heart's blood, lights it. You want to light it for a really long time, you just go ahead and kill Zhao Yunlan. Peace is restored for many, many years, right? So that's not nice. Meanwhile, Lin Jing, down by the ancient merit tree in the Great Seal, is helping Shen Wei get released from the icicle thing. He's basically been crucified on the tree.
Okay.
So he's like yoinking that out of him. And Shen Wei is having his own sexy era where we get to see him in the absence of Zhao Yunlan. And he is very ruthlessly cold and clever. And he has this talk with Ghostface where he's like, you fucking idiot. You think that you've been winning this whole time, but you've actually been strung around by me the entire time. You've done everything I've wanted you to do, And right now, you've still fallen for my schemes, because where's that little piece of chaos that you released just now? I took it. And what do you think I did with it?
Putting it up your ass.
Essentially. And so the Ghost King is like, it's not the Ghost King, different guy. So Ghostface is suddenly a little bit scared that he has fallen for some sort of ruse by Shen Wei.
Yeah.
And he immediately leaves to go find the piece of chaos that he let loose that Shen Wei took. Now, where is that piece of chaos currently running loose and destroying everything? None other than the Yan Luo courts, because that little piece of chaos that Shen Wei took from Ghostface, he simply let loose in the Netherworld to wreak havoc.
Okay.
And that drew the Ghostface guy to the courts at the same time that the Yao, like all of the powerful spirits, like the snake guys, the crow guys, they all show up to defend Zhao Yunlan. Because they're like, excuse you, Kunlun was our bestie back in the day. You can't just sacrifice him, even though he's immortal, to the lantern. That's not cool. And so Ghostface happens to show up where literally every powerful person is gathered in the Netherworld. And they immediately look at him like, we're gonna go fight that fucker. And so by trying to avoid Shen Wei's plot, he fell right into Shen Wei's evil plans to kick his ass.
Nice.
Yes, it was an elaborate ruse, truly, through and through. However, it did involve him getting stabbed, which I don't think Zhao Yunlan is going to be very happy about.
Yeah.
Kunlun's body is what made the soul lamp. So that's why he became the primordial spirit guarding the Great Seal. It's because his body was used to make the soul lamp. And then his heart's blood became the wick.
Okay.
Yes. But the lamp is currently wickless, hence they're looking for a substitute.
Okay.
So there's this huge reveal where it's revealed that Ghostface has been led around by Shen Wei this entire time without knowing it himself. This whole time we have felt like, as an antagonist, Ghostface has been moving independently, and he has had his own like goals and has been acting to achieve them, but little does he know that playing 3D chess above him is Shen Wei using him as a pawn. So that's kind of a startling and scary discovery. What Ghostface was doing is he was collecting the pillars, like the merit brush, the reincarnation dial, these things, in order to ruin the relationship between Shen Wei and the Netherworld. His thought was that if the seal has the appearance of breaking, like if it was just leaking a little bit, even if it wasn't actually breaking, the kings would grab Zhao Yunlan and use him to light the wick. And if Zhao Yunlan died, Shen Wei would absolutely go against the Netherworld and like not protect the seal, not do anything. And the Ghostface would be able to use that chaos and that distraction and Shen Wei no longer guarding the seal to break the Guay out of the seal.
Yeah.
That was his big plan. Shen Wei, however, has been using the Ghostface to collect the pillars for him, essentially.
Nice. He's like, I know your plan.
Yep.
Thanks for being a part of my plan.
Yep. You go run around and, gather these things, but basically they're all in my possession.
Got it.
And of course, like the final part of his plan is tricking the paranoid Ghost King into checking in on the chaos running loose in the courts, running into all of those immortals and gathered officials, and promptly getting his ass kicked. But he does get one last strike in because Ghostface explodes. When everyone gathers to like capture him, he just explodes into a bazillion pieces, breaks the net that is used to capture him, and it's a spiritual net. It's not just like they had like a Looney Tunes net. But so he explodes and blasts the hole through the seal, which Shen Wei is able to patch up with his own power as a temporary measure, but the seal is now only going to last for half a day.
Okay.
So we're finally at like the pinnacle of the plot where the seal is broken. It's not going to last any longer. They have to figure out what to do to save it. Lives are on the line.
Okay.
But on an emotional level, what's happening is that Zhao Yunlan, once he finally does see Shen Wei again, and, you know, sands icicle through his chest, he immediately, like, of course he's worried and concerned and has been trying to reach him this time, but as soon as he sees him and he's upright and he's standing, he's mad and worried, and it's just like stomps away with his employees. It's like, I want to talk to you right now because you did the whole thing where you were being tricky and you sacrificed your body for your schemes, and I've already told you how many times I'm not a fan of that. And so Shen Wei just puts himself in timeout underneath the lamp. He's just sitting underneath the lamp. It's a big lamp, for the record. I mean, I don't know if you've been imagining this size, but it's huge.
Okay.
So he's sitting underneath it and just having sad boy hours. Like, I can't follow him. He doesn't want me to follow him. I don't know what to do. I'm so sad. And Ju Hong, of all people, has to tell him, he's not mad because you lied to him. He's mad because he was worried about you. He's obviously wanting you to follow him. In fact, he probably isn't even that far away. He probably like stomped off and is waiting around the corner for you to like catch up to him. And he is, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Like, Zhao Yunlan is pouting the whole time and just waiting for him to show up. Like, they cannot be separated from each other. It doesn't matter what's going on. And in thanks for revealing this human logic to him, Shen Wei gives Ju Hong a stick. It's a stick from the divine tree.
Oh, how nice.
Yes. And so that's like a super amazing gift. He's like, hey, I've been holding on to this for like thousands of years, but because I am chaos and evil incarnate, it won't grow. So it only has 3 little buds on it. Good luck.
Nice.
Maybe like it'll save your life if you need it, but if you don't need it, try to plant it somewhere. Thanks. Okay, and so then they reunite once more. Next slide. These are just all a collection of quotes you may or may not have seen on Tumblr back in the day. I feel like there's the type of girly that really likes Greek tragedy, right? And especially the Anne Carson translations of it. Like, she's responsible for its rotten work, you know? Like that classic line. And as I was reading this, I just felt like it really felt like that kind of story. It felt like a translated Greek tragedy that was made to be really accessible and relatable with this kind of casual language. And I feel like Guardian is similar in that way, with its angsty romanticism, with its emphasis on these life and death cycles, and the way that it's this like huge story, like spanning thousands of years with the gods and ghosts and whatnot, but it's set in the modern era, you know, to contrast all of those things.
Yeah, totally.
So just as a total aside, I do feel like the people who really like the dark academia bullshit, like, this is like perfect for that. And there's so many just like poetic lines that are in this book, like about love and death and whatnot, and it absolutely reminded me of like all of these things.
Absolutely. Like Shen Wei's longing and
Yes.
the let's devolve into chaos together.
Like, all of these could absolutely be quotes from Shen Wei.
Yeah.
I cannot rise too heavy with filth and sin. Give me your hand. I'll stain you. I'll take it. Shut the fuck up. If that isn't Guardian right there. So I just had a moment of just sitting in like just the deep romantic elements of all of these themes. Mm-hmm. I think it's so good. It's just that it hits that perfect niche for me. We have half a day left to fix the seal.
Right.
Which means that it's time to die. Shen Wei has all 4 artifacts now, so including the soul lamp, and he intends to keep his vow to redo the seal because Zhao Yunlan has promised to die with him.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, he only needs a drop of blood from Zhao Yunlan's fingertip because he only needs to light the lamp for like half a day, right? If obviously for a matter of centuries, he would need a lot more. But for all intents and purposes, we've solved that problem. Zhao Yunlan asked the mortar bowl, who is currently possessing his father, like, hey, I have a favor to ask. Could you possess Zhao Yunlan, like, so my parents don't have to bury their child? Like, I'm going to die, but if you could possess my body and pretend to be me for my lifetime, I think that would do my parents a solid, and I'd really appreciate it. So he solved that problem. Like, I thought that was sweet that like, he has these human connections in this lifetime, and he is very caring, but ultimately he cares the most about Shen Wei over everybody. And Shen Wei undergoes this sealing ritual, like, right away. He needs everyone's help. Like, everyone in Zhao Yunlan's department, like, helps with, like, chanting, like, the ritual with the different objects. And as the ritual finally comes to an end, to use these 4 pillars to seal the Great Seal for good, once and for all, he kisses Zhao Yunlan. And it's this tender, beautiful kiss. It's like they're saying goodbye. They're saying how much they love each other, like, in this crucial moment. And then Zhao Yunlan feels something streaming out of him. It's his memories. Shen Wei is pulling the memories out of him, going back on his own promise to die together. Instead of having Zhao Yunlan die, he's going to erase his memories so that he can keep living.
No.
And not remember a single thing.
Oh.
And as he does that, as he breaks their promise to die together, Zhao Yunlan falls unconscious in his arms, and Shen Wei is consumed by the flames of the heart lamp.
I knew Shen Wei wouldn't be able to do that. I knew it. I knew that selfless love would come back.
I thought that was a really good twist, for sure.
Yeah.
That in the end, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And there was such a beautiful line where, like, in that moment where he was being consumed by the flames, he feels for the first time that he's worthy of Zhao. He feels for the first time that he's worthy of Zhao Yunlan. Oh. As someone who should be incapable of this kind of selflessness, and finally being able to, like, oh my god, I'm tearing up. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this shit. Okay. However, when Zhao Yunlan wakes up, he is the awakened Kunlun. He has all of his old memories back as Kunlun.
Okay.
Like, so it's kind of, it's not that, like, he's a different person, but it's definitely, like, he's changed. He's definitely, like, whoosh, has all of his godhood memories back.
Okay.
So that's a huge twist. Like, okay, what's gonna happen with that?
Yeah.
He finally has all of his memories back, except for what Shen Wei took from him, presumably. Simultaneously, Zhu Hong's stick dives beneath the River of the Dead and shoots all the way down to the ancient merit tree and entwines with it. Now, the ancient merit tree is dead.
Okay.
It's just withered away. But this new sprout entwines with it, and they grow up together, and they shoot through the river, and they break through the underworld, and they are, like, going up into, like, the mortal realm together. And something dramatic is happening, clearly, right? Like, you see these giant trees sprout up into the mortal realm. And I will now talk about Guo Changcheng, who is the crucial piece to this whole plot.
He is a cutie.
Yes, he is. Also, in this volume, I started to ship him with another character, and I thought I was losing my mind because I couldn't tell if I was seeing actual subtext or if I was just delulu. Because I especially feel like with Danmei novels, it's like you get one gay couple and that's it.
Yeah.
The side characters are never going to be canon or whatever. But after looking up his character, it turns out that he is, like, I wasn't delulu, first of all. Like, in the live action especially, he is shipped with this character so much that they might be almost as popular as the main ship in the live action.
Wow.
Like, there's so many edits, there's AMVs, there's fan art. I couldn't believe how popular he was. I was like, I can't believe it. It was so cool. So it makes me really want to watch the live action. But essentially, sprinkled throughout this whole volume, it's been cutting back to him multiple times as he's been undergoing his own journey. And I'm just going to summarize all of that now so that it is coherent. So, first of all, Guo Changcheng shocks his whole family because they did not realize he was transferred to this department that deals with these special investigations. It's not entirely out in the open that they deal with ghosts, but it's like, oh, this is like a special police unit. We transferred you to, like, the generic paperwork department of this other thing. Like, we tried to get you a job, but we didn't think you'd end up here. So clearly like there's something at work here where he was transferred there for some reason. And they're like, you should quit this job. If it's dangerous, you're not cut out for it, clearly. But he doesn't think about doing that at all because he feels like he finally has a place to belong. He's such a socially awkward person, but he really feels attached to all of his coworkers, and it's so sweet. Speaking of coworkers, the Corpse King, the emo goth boy of the group, Chu Shuja, has his suspicions about him. He's like, this mortal boy he just can't be normal. He's here, he's hanging out with us. There has to be something off about him. There's something going on with him. There's more to the eye. So he starts investigating him in all these different ways, questioning people, trying to figure out like if he's from some sort of secret lineage or if he's secretly immortal, and he's just kind of fixating on him a little bit. Kind of gay. But he's with him when Guo Changcheng receives a call from a ghost. And the ghost woman is like, hey, you tutored my daughter a few years ago, and she's missing. She's basically been human trafficked by her so-called online friends.
What? And
taken to the big city where you work. And will you please help her? And he's like, of course I'll help her. Oh my god. Of course, don't worry, ma'am. And it's so funny because we get to see him, like, as soon as people request his help, he is so, like, self-sacrificing and confident in a way, in a very unassuming just way where he is just so eager to help and that he lacks a normal amount of fear, whereas coworkers like, you shouldn't get involved in ghosts like this. Don't accept, like, requests from ghosts because if it's a bad ghost, you're screwed. But he goes along with him to help him find this missing girl for this ghost lady. And so they spend a lot of time together, and it's just, I don't know, his perspective is just a little bit gay. He's just thinking about Guo Changcheng a little too much. And he notices that when he does, like, rescue this girl and return her to her hometown, that his merits, like, flash and change with this different aura that he's never seen before. And he feels like it's just very suspicious how many merits he's accumulated, how that's even possible for a human, and what's up with that. And, like, there's a whole bunch of hijinks where he tries to, like interrogate his soul, like, uses a talisman, and, like, his soul comes out of his body, and then it's, like, just this whole thing. But for all intents and purposes, he cannot figure out what's so odd about him. He just seems like a normal human. And so I started shipping them.
Nice.
Yes. And they end up at the deserted resort as well with everybody else, and they are just busy fighting Guay and Youchu all day long together. He has this baton that Zhao Yunlan gave him that reacts to his fear, so he just, like, tases all these ghosts whenever he's scared, and it's awesome. So funny. Meanwhile, his boyfriend literally can control corpses.
Cool.
All away with Shen style. So he's, like, freaking is summoning, like, the ashes at the resort to reassemble into skeletons and fight the monsters.
Cool.
And the skeletons are protecting Guo Changcheng the whole time. And one even gives him a little pat on the head. I'm like, kind of gay.
That's cute.
To get a skeleton to pat your boyfriend on the head.
Yes.
Just saying. So they are just at each other's sides the whole time. And they end up in the mountains as, like, the earthquakes keep happening, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta, like, get to high ground, this big calamity is going to happen. This whole time that they're at the resort, like, the ghosts of everyone who's been incinerated is still at the resort. Mm-hmm. And again, they're under the sunlight. They're going to be lost souls if they aren't collected and given peace. And so Guo Changcheng is the only one who's thought of them and at all, and he's, like, trying to collect them into little bottles. And he talks to every single ghost being like, it's okay, like, do you want me to write down, like, any messages for, like, your family so you can go in peace? And, like, just collecting all of them in these little bottles, and while his goth boyfriend is like, oh, supporting him unconditionally.
Yeah.
So they end up on top of a mountain with all of these souls, and a freaking scary-ass monster fights them on the bridge. Chu Shuja, in protecting him, falls off the bridge.
No!
Off the fucking bridge on the mountain, is plummeting off a cliff, and Guo Changcheng jumps off the bridge. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do, but this sweet boy jumps right after his boyfriend to save him.
Nice.
And like as he jumps off, he dropped all of the bottles of spirits onto the bridge, and they break out of the bottles and they like swoop down the cliff to like save them because he was just so nice to them. And so thankfully both of them lived to tell the tale because of these ghosts that were just collected through his true altruism.
Wow.
And they're saved, and they thank him, and they're able to peacefully move on to the afterlife. Chu Shujua is staring at him as his merits just undergo this insane transformation. They just gather into this glowing ball of spiritual light, and they just shoot off.
Okay.
They go somewhere. And you're like, okay, what's that about? It is revealed at this time that Guo Changcheng is none other than the reincarnation of the wick of the heart lamp. This whole time he's been the fucking wick.
Oh my god.
And so all of the merits on him that have been just glowing so strongly have been gathered from hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes.
No, he's just some guy.
I honestly think it would be funny if he was just some guy.
No, that's so funny though. Like thinking that he was just some guy working at the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're like the most important part of all of this.
He was the fucking crux of this whole plot. The reincarnated wick. So, like, which was, I guess, originally, like, Kunlun Jun's heart blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just, like, his spirit was just one of wanting to help others. And, you know, his existence was bound to, like, helping souls move on through the reincarnation cycle. So it makes sense that he is wanting to help people living and dead. So Guo Changcheng is kind of the like spirit of the soul guardian order itself. So basically the soul guardian order is this phrase that's repeated often, and it's guard the souls of the living, bring peace to the hearts of the dead, atone for crimes done in life, and complete the unfinished cycle. And this is something that Guo Changcheng's like recites and says as if compelled. The merits fly off of him and go elsewhere. And this is like one of those moments where I feel like the answer was in front of me the whole time, because ultimately this whole plot has been about completing the unfinished cycle. This is like one of those things where you hear this phrase repeated over and over again, and you don't know what it means, you don't question it because you just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because this whole time they're helping the living, they're helping the dead. But what is the unfinished cycle? Because we've had the reincarnation cycle this whole time, but what has existed outside of it? The Guay. The Guay are outside of this unfinished cycle. And now we are going to finally complete the cycle. Those merits that come flying off of Guo Changcheng enter the heart lamp where Kunlun Jun is standing, and the wick lights up in the lamp, and when all of those merits have gathered inside the lamp to light it again for centuries, for however long, just the insane amount of merits, Shen Wei falls out of the lamp into Zhao Yunlan's arms. He is not needed any longer to light the lamp.
Yay!
To protect the seal. Like, because of all of those merits, he's able to live. And this time, not only is Shen Wei back, but this time Shen Wei has all of the souls. He has the 3 ethereal souls, and he has the 7 corporeal souls. So he is now a true god, and as a Guay, as the king of the Guay, having a soul, all of the other Guay now have souls as well.
Aww.
And this completes the reincarnation cycle. This is like the missing piece, like the little janky piece where everything didn't fit before. Now everything is fully in the circle of life and death. What happens to the Guay? It's not like they magically turn good. They disappear.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Because they're just like, they fit in the cycle, but they were evil things. They just whoosh, they went away. But they're also present. It's not really explained, but it's not like they never existed. It's not like they no longer exist, but they are integrated in the cycle.
Okay.
and are gone from this realm.
Okay.
And so like this changes even like the nature of chaos. There's no longer any of that primordial chaos lingering around. It's like truly like we found like the plug for the Christmas lights and everything lit up and everything's good.
Yay.
Yeah. And it was all because of Guo Chang.
Hell yeah.
He's been there from the beginning. With Shen Wei and Zhao Yunlan reunited, they go home together, and that is where the book ends.
Wow.
But there are, of course, some bonus stories, but we'll get into that in a second. So just to round off the story, go to the next slide.
Loving someone means wanting to see him get railed.
Do you want to guess who is thinking this thought?
Shen Wei?
No, it's Ju Hong, actually, the snake lady. She has recovered from liking Zhao Yunlan and is coping in the best way she can by kind of living vicariously as not a fujoshi, but in just kind of like, you know what? If I can't have him, let him be a fucking bottom. Let that man get railed. I want to see that man pregnant.
Wow.
Like she would full 180, that girl, and that's how she's coping. But I thought that quote was quite touching. So Shen Wei is unconscious for a whole week, and during which Zhao Yunlan doesn't leave his side the entire time. But as soon as Shen Wei wakes up after that week, he throws a fit and ignores Shen Wei and won't even come home. He just sleeps at the office. Like, again, he's just throwing a tantrum. You may be wondering, how much does he remember if that's the case? Well, it turns out very conveniently that his divine spirit returned in time before Shen Wei, like, sucked out all of his memories. So it's kind of like your god spirit kind of canceled that out, and he was able to keep all of his memories. So
Nice.
we're good on that department.
So now, is he a god that's immortal and Shen Wei is also mortal? Sick.
They're both immortal together. So they can live forever together.
Aww.
Yes, and they're still kind of living like normal mortal lives, like doing their work and living together domestically.
Is there a scene with the swan boats?
No.
That was just beautiful fan art.
Yeah.
I love it.
But Zhao Yunlan is throwing a fit because he's well aware of what Shen Wei tried to do, and he's very mad about it.
Right.
But Shen Wei apologizes and he grovels a little bit, and Zhao Yunlan softens up immediately. So
You have to understand, I like you so much.
She's like, okay, fine.
Do you want another necklace of teeth?
It's the only thing that will make me forgive you. So they go home together, and and that's it. They live happily ever after.
Aww.
Yeah.
Do they keep, like, fighting ghost crimes together?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's a handful of bonus stories that I won't go into, like, super detail on all of them. Let people read for themselves, but there are some amazing tidbits that I wanted to share from them.
Highlight from the extras, slutty eggplant.
I just need you to... It's important to me that you know this. The phrase slutty eggplant is used in a sentence, and it's not even in the context you'd think. Like, what do you think that sentence would be? What do you think the eggplant is?
Either it's an eggplant and they're sexualizing it, or it's like the emoji eggplant for like a dick.
Like, it's a literal eggplant in a garden. Zhao Yunlan, like, one of the first thing he does as his primordial god self, living life,
Is make a garden.
is he just makes a garden.
Hell yeah.
And he just plants a bunch of random vegetables. Everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, this is just his old nature god side of him coming out.
Yeah.
And he plants a ton of vegetables and just one slutty eggplant in the middle of all of it.
It says slutty eggplant.
It's just like, maybe because it's just all by itself, it's like, did he do it as a joke? I don't know.
Does he say slutty eggplant?
He doesn't say it. It's just in the text as is. It's like just describing the garden and the slutty eggplant in the middle of it.
You really remind me of the Indian guy on The Big Bang Theory.
Now that is a direct quote from the extra. That is a direct quote from one of the bonus stories. I shit you not. I don't know, whatever the aura is that the kids are talking about these days, I lost it. I just instantaneously, all of my aura is gone.
I mean, I used to really like Big Bang Theory. Raj is a great character.
It's not even binary. It's just like,
Who says that to who?
okay. Guo Chung Chung goes on a blind date with a girl, and he's completely bombing it, okay? He's so socially awkward, he can barely speak.
Does he say this to a girl?
She says it to him, and then says she likes him.
Oh, she's they are so awkward he can't talk to girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, you're like this guy. That's kind of cute. I like that. However, for the record, he was so nervous about this date that...
What about his freaking...
He had Chushu go along with him and pretend to just be a stranger at another table.
Oh my god.
Now, he was just painfully watching through this date, this like socially awkward train wreck disaster. But as soon as it starts going well for Guo Chung Chung, as soon as the girl says like that, oh, I actually kind of like you, even
does
though
he
you're
throw
awkward.
a fit?
He does. He gets up, he stomps over the table, and he's like, I literally have to read it out loud. I lost my goddamn mind. In an incredibly ambiguous tone, he said, going on a date behind my back? You really think you're hot shit now, huh? He ruins their date by implying that he is his boyfriend.
Oh my god. I love that.
Right?
That's great.
And to just wrap this all up in a beautiful, pretty bow, part of this story is that a spiritual tracking device was accidentally placed on Guo Chung Chung. Mm-hmm. And so all of their coworkers like overheard the whole conversation. And when they get back to the office, they all think that they're dating.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible. I could not be happier. I read through the whole book being like, I think I might be a little delulu. And then that, I'm like, ha ha! I was supposed to think that they were dating.
Nice.
So I ship it. I think it's so cute. It's just a classic grumpy sunshine combination. It's just so good. And that's where the silly side stories end. Because this is, okay, I'm begging people, read Guardian, read the final volume, and read this bonus story. Because this is the story that, like, you truly need to get the full romance out of the plot. It answers the question, arguably the most important question a reader might have about Zhao Yunlan and Shen Wei is, in all of the past lifetimes that they must have had, like in all of the reincarnations Zhao Yunlan went through as the Guardian, was there ever a time where Shen Wei did break his promise and actually met him? Mm-hmm. Like, was he so scared of harming him and killing him because that happened before?
Yeah.
Is he speaking from experience? And the answer is yes.
So he killed him in a life?
There is a whole, it's like it's pretty long, but it's a whole love story about kind of basically like historical cultivation time. So it's like many centuries ago, and Zhao Yunlan is this wandering cultivator guy, and his name is actually Shen-san, the same Shen that becomes Shen Wei.
Yeah. And
in this lifetime, he happens to get hurt, and he wakes up in a little hut on a mountain, and there is a beautiful Yao spirit taking care of him with long black hair, whose name is Wei. And they fall in love in this domestic little mountain. They, like, seriously, like, they just live together, and it's so, like, domestically blissful. And then he's like, you know what? I like my leg healed. It's all better. I have, like, a couple of things to take care of. But as soon as I go and check on these people, I will come back and stay with you forever. So Zhao Yunlan leaves the mountain, goes and takes care of a couple of loose ends in his life, and then he comes back. And when he comes back to the little hut, he finds it abandoned. And instead of giving up hope that his love, the Yao, left him, he stays in that hut for 3 years, just tending to it, living there quietly, waiting for him to come back. And then one day, packs up his things and he leaves to go down the mountain. And out from behind a plum blossom tree pops none other than Wei. He has been watching him the whole time, but refusing to come near him because he doesn't want to hurt him.
So it's like he got too close, and then...
Right? But as soon as he pops out, he pretty much runs into Zhao Yunlan because he thought that Zhao Yunlan was like leaving forever. He's finally given up. I can come out of hiding now. He was just going down the mountain to buy some salt. They ran out of salt.
Okay.
And so he was planning on living on the mountain for much longer.
Waiting for him
for as long as it takes. And he is so mad that he hid from him for 3 years. He throws a little fit about it, but then he's done. And he's like, he doesn't ask questions. He doesn't like hold it against him. And they end up like truly, like after that, all of their unspoken feelings for each other are out in the open. They are like truly in love with each other, and they live this happy life together. And Zhao Yunlan gets sicker and sicker. He offers to give his name to Wei instead of, because Wei just means mountain ghost. It's very boring, but he changes the spelling of his name and gives him his name. So then he became Shen Wei. And he just slowly withers away and dies.
Zhao Yunlan. So that's like what would happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
So it's like he did actually do that in one lifetime version.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's just so awful because like they try, like Shen Wei tries to take care of him the whole time and feels so bad and feels so guilty.
Does Zhao Yunlan know that Shen Wei is the thing making him sick in this version? It's not really stated whether or not he knows. Okay.
But Shen Wei like keeps saying these things like, you know, like I shouldn't be here, I should leave you. So like Shen Wei is being kind of open, like where he feels like it's his fault.
Yeah.
And I think Zhao Yunlan is like under the assumption that like there's like these kind of laws of heaven that Yao and humans shouldn't be together.
So
and
he's
kind of like being
aware.
He is kind of aware that like he might not know the logistics of how it's affecting him, but he does know that it's kind of the cause behind it.
Okay.
And like as he's like truly nearing his end, like Shen Wei freaks out and tries to leave like to save him, and he's like, don't you fucking dare leave, and like wants him to stay there to the very end. And he does. Yeah, so he has to bury him. He just like he dies. It's just so awful. And he experiences such Shen Wei experiences such intense grief that he like of course vows to never break that promise again, and just never let that happen.
Watch him.
Yeah.
But so he's watched, I'm sure he's seen him die in other ways too.
Oh yeah, he's always watched him. He's always found him and looked after him, but never
been like the direct cause of it. Oh, damn.
Yeah. It's such a good story. It's so beautiful. It's the story I really wanted to have earlier to contextualize just how angsty and deep their romance, and just how like it's not just Shen Wei one-sidedly pining the whole time. It's how like Zhao Yunlan like falls in love with him instantly, like every time, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's the one who refuses to let go. Yeah. Like it's a truly mutual love.
I'm so glad that they're both immortal now. Poor Shen Wei having to go through that for so long. Oh my god.
And then the last short story explains the time travel subplot by introducing an even more insanely complex concept, which is that of pocket universes. And basically, pocket universes exist in this world as kind of they're leftovers from the failed experiments that Shenong made to make the reincarnation cycle.
Okay.
So like all these like so basically there's these pocket universes out there.
Got it.
And Zhao Yunlan and Shen Wei go to investigate some mysterious happenings in the South Sea, and they get trapped in a series of bubbles that are pocket dimensions. And it's kind of terrifying because like some are like 10 minutes long, and you basically just have to find the link between the pocket dimension and the outside world, which could be an object, it could be part of your body or something, and you just have to destroy it in order to escape it.
Okay.
So like those small worlds are, not very detailed, that don't last very long. They might not have any people in it, but then there's over 80 of these pocket worlds that they have to destroy.
Okay.
And some of them are entire lifetimes. Some are 10,000 years. There is a pocket universe where they live together for 10,000 years just to figure out how to escape from it.
I mean, but for them, at this point, though, that's, like, not that dramatic when they've been around for so long.
Thank God that is not a mind-boggling amount of time for either of them now.
Yeah.
But,
you're like, whoa, I need a vacation after that one.
They literally take a vacation after that. They're like, we're going to the beach. We just lived 80 lifetimes together. We're going to the beach. But like most of them, he did live together with Shen Wei, which I was like, it's like the Matrix. It's like you just settle down and have a life there.
Yeah.
And then hopefully figure out how to escape from it. Because like they both have to figure out, like for each of them, there's like some sort of object or connection that they have to find out. But it's also not clear if all of them were together with Shen Wei. Like, was he alone for a lifetime in some of them? I don't know. It was kind of horrifying to think about. But anyways, they pop all of these bubbles and then they take a vacation.
That's
about
fantastic.
It. And I am left traumatized. So
is the bowl guy still around?
That is a great question. That is actually resolved as well. He... after the events of the plot, he's like, I no longer need to stick around to possess your dad, so I'm gonna give your dad back, and I'm just gonna peace out.
Okay.
I think he just kind of fades away.
Cool.
So, yeah, he's fine.
No more candy salad for any of you ungrateful fuckers.
Yeah, and that's the book.
Damn. Well, it's like, it can be confusing, but also... I feel like I totally understood everything. And that is definitely because you're very good at explaining things.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know if reading it myself, I would have been able to enjoy it as much as I did through your words. So I really appreciate everything that you've done.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I think that considering, like, I was thinking about this and I realized this says 3 on it. This is volume 3. This whole story was finished in just 3 volumes.
That's pretty crazy.
Which is crazy. Like, considering, like, the huge themes, like, the huge... plot line, like the scope of the narrative is spanning like thousands of years and the beginning of creation. I think that Guardian does an excellent job of covering as much as it does in so little time, and it doesn't feel like the story was too big or too small for the amount of time that we got. The
romance could breathe, and also all of the plot elements.
There was enough time to really get attached to side characters. There was enough time to enjoy the romance. Like, it truly is very enjoyable, and I do like the overall themes and the emotions that I experience reading it. It's, like, a really nice, especially with it being in a modern world, I feel like it's pretty easy to follow, even though some of the details can be a little tricky to keep up with.
Yeah.
I think everything is explained in time. It's just going into it knowing that as I'm learning things, those things may not be the actual truth. Just knowing to roll with that, I think, is the biggest thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for another incredible Denmei book club. If you guys would like to purchase any of the Guardian books, I will have the links down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!